For a week or two, pregnancy might be a happy time, but Chicago Fire celebrated Stella's surprise bun in the oven while sadly overlooking a crucial aspect of her adoption story. The fact that the disclosure concluded the Chicago Fire Season 13 finale makes it much more annoying because the show won't be able to correct this blunder until the next season. It's given that Chicago Fire Season 14 will focus largely on Stella's pregnancy. In fairness, Kid getting pregnant so soon after her adoption with severide fell through is practically a miracle. But before the series adds a tiny new member to the Chicago Fire cast, it ought to revisit why Stella went on this journey in the first place. Stella gives Kelly specific reasons for wanting to adopt in Chicago Fire Season 13, Episode 12. The choice to adopt ties deeply into her family's history. Character additions such as Brandon Larroquente's Chicago Fire casting typically stem from behind-the-scenes concerns, such as the anticipated departures of Sam Carver and Darren Ritter. By contrast, Stella Kidd provides a very clear in-universe reason for wanting to start a family with Kelly. Notably, she specifically mentions adoption to Severide after telling him that she has reservations about getting pregnant. But there's a lot more to it than that. Stella first suggests adopting in Chicago Fire Season 13, Episode 12, after a visit from her cousin Cole. After some initial tension between Cole and Stella's husband, Cole eventually tells Kelly the story of his mother, Stella's Aunt Laverne, taking in the younger kids after their parents died of unknown causes. Although a saint in the children's eyes, Aunt Laverne ceased to function in the midst of overwhelming postpartum depression. This forced Stella to step up and care for everybody in much the same way she does at Firehouse 51, providing a glimpse into how she became a strong and caring leader. It also explains Kid's reason for wanting to adopt. Stella says herself when speaking to Kelly at the end of the episode that she wants to adopt a child who needs help so that she can give back to the world what Laverne gave to her. She also appears to retain some silent guilt from her addiction years. But atoning through pregnancy would be a disservice to her character. Chicago Fire Season 13's twist pregnancy ruins the sentiment behind Stella wanting kids. She's no longer giving a home to a child in need. Technically speaking, every child needs help. They're such notoriously bad hires that we had to pass laws just to keep them from working. But while no child can live on self-sufficiency, Stella's talk with Kelly makes it perfectly clear that she wants to take in a kid with no place else to go. In other words, it's never just been about being a mother. Between her responsibilities as a lieutenant and her relationship with Chicago Fire's former Dalmatian, Tuesday, it's already abundantly clear that Stella has the capacity to care for another life. Pregnancy will present new challenges, but none that she and Kelly can't overcome. That would all be fine if watching SisterWives triumphantly clear the hurdles of first-time parenthood together were the main hook of the storyline. However, the additional hook of paying tribute to Aunt Laverne's legacy is what makes SisterWives' relationship arc unique. It elevates their story above those of countless other recently betrothed TV couples. It's generally a goal in TV to keep relationships moving so they don't become stale. But, thanks to Aunt Laverne, SisterWives didn't feel like they were only starting a family because it's next on the list of traditional life goals and storylines. The surprise pregnancy walks back that uniqueness, and in more ways than one. Chicago Med's Hannah Asher mystery took the wind out of Chicago Fire's baby sales. There were a lot of surprise babies on network TV this season. A surprise pregnancy isn't blazing the trails of creativity to begin with, but Stella's pregnancy reveal lost some of its luster when another One Chicago series introduced its own surprise pregnancy at around the same time. Because Hannah Asher's pregnancy comes packaged with a paternal mystery, it steals a lot of Chicago Fire's thunder. Not only is the mystery itself intriguing, but many fans are hopeful the paternity reveal could fix Chicago Med's romance problem. This is why using similar twists simultaneously in the same franchise is rarely advised, as one can easily overshadow the other. Although the next One Chicago crossover could feature 2 simultaneous childbirths, so that's at least fun. How Chicago Fire can preserve Aunt Laverne's legacy without sacrificing SisterWives Jr. The CFD has very restrictive policies against baby sacrifice. Especially with SisterWives' first adoption falling through, it feels too late to correct course by abandoning the pregnancy. Something feels problematic about learning that your baby was forcibly miscarried by TV writers for story reasons. But Chicago Fire already introduced a solution to the problem in the form of Natalie Evans. Stella losing her pregnancy would rank among the most heartbreaking Chicago Fire deaths since Leslie Shea, but Stella's work with Natalie and Girls on Fire could help the exact type of kids she wanted to adopt. It even seemed like she might adopt Natalie at one point, but the troubled teen could instead be the inspiration for a new program. If Stella wanted to expand Girls on Fire, or even start a separate program to offer at-risk youths general assistance, she already has the perfect ally. Chicago Fire Season 13, Episode 10, introduced Kid to Amy, a teacher who wants to serve a more heroic purpose. A program for kids like Natalie would be the perfect project for both women. Enjoy Screen Rant's primetime coverage? Click below to sign up for our weekly Network TV newsletter. Make sure to check Network TV in your preferences, and get the inside scoop from actors and showrunners on your favorite series. This Chicago Fire pregnancy bothers me more every time I think about one major character detail. When it comes to Chicago Fire, fans have seen their fair share of dramatic rescues, shocking deaths, whirlwind romances, and surprise pregnancies. It's a show built on high-stakes emotions, both inside Firehouse 51 and out in the field. But every so often, there's a storyline that lingers in your mind, not because it was jaw-dropping or heartwarming, but because something about it just doesn't sit right. For me, that storyline is Stella Kid's pregnancy tease, which, no matter how much time passes, bothers me more every time I think about it. Not because the idea of Stella having a baby is unappealing. In fact, it could have been a powerful, emotional arc. No, what unsettles me is one glaring character detail that makes the whole situation feel a little off, even disingenuous. The character detail that breaks the story. The issue lies not in the storyline's concept, but in who Stella Kid is at her core. From her very first appearance, Stella's defining character trait has been her fierce independence and laser-focused career ambition. She fought tooth and nail to build Girls on Fire. She risked everything for her lieutenant promotion, and she made it clear time and time again that she wasn't going to let anything, or anyone, stand in the way of her professional goals. And that's where the pregnancy subplot feels problematic. Because while it's entirely possible for an ambitious woman to also want a family, the show never properly laid that foundation for Stella. In fact, there were several pointed conversations in past seasons where Stella explicitly stated that she wasn't ready to think about kids, and that her priority was climbing the ranks within CFD. It wasn't an anti-motherhood stance, but rather an honest, realistic portrayal of a modern woman with big professional dreams. To suddenly pivot into a potential pregnancy storyline, especially one played for surprise drama rather than genuine character development, feels cheap. It's as if the writers forgot their own character building and opted for shock value instead. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe my Fast Gossip 24 to our channel and stay with us.